I don't know if you saw this as well, talking about COVID-19 and the vax. Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. is reportedly considering, I don't know why he hasn't done it yet, removing the COVID-19 vaccine from the CDC prevention recommended vaccine schedule for children.
I mean, that with all due respect, it should have been day one.
Yeah, it should have been day one.
Like, okay, so help me God. Next thing he says is that.
Right. This coming from John Solomon's Just the News. The possible change was reported on Tuesday by Politico. Based on sources, HHS spokesperson Andrew Nixon told Politico when asked about the matter, no final decision has been made. I don't know why. The CDC added the vaccine in 2023 to the schedule, which does not mandate the shot. State and localities decide which vaccines are required for schools, and all 50 states have medical exemptions for the vaccines. Kennedy has always questioned whether children needed to get that vaccine, citing that kids are very unlikely to die from that disease.
By the way, while you're doing that, why don't we get the childhood vaccine schedule down to when we were kids?
Yeah.
Or even if we don't even want to go back to that, why don't we get it down to like what I did with my kids? Like, well, let's make it parents aware, especially new parents, that no, you don't have to do 4 in a visit. No, you don't have to do 3 in a visit. No, you don't have to do the MMR all in one shot or whatever it is. You could do 1, and then you could wait until they're a certain age, and then only have to do 1 more. So maybe you take your number from whatever I don't even know what the number is now total.
I think it's 73.
Mercury and all kinds of antigens to jack up their responses and give them 72 different things to fight off at once at the age of 0. Okay.
Maybe by the time they get to school age, where they whatever the need is, you can get it down to, I don't know, 15. 16, whatever the number of shots over the first 5 or 6 years of their life. Why does it have to be 70?
70?
Wasn't when we were kids.
Yeah.
I didn't give that to my kids. And we had a fight for that with doctors. We would go into doctor's office and they, oh, this is the schedule. And I'd say, well, that's not going to be our schedule. Oh, no, we went through 4, 5 pediatricians before we found Dr. Sosolsky, who was had been in practice for a long time. And it's not even that he was for it. We would sit down and he would at least be willing to talk about it. And I would tell him why. Clearly, he could tell that he wasn't just talking to someone who was just going to go, okay. And we got to a point where I was comfortable with what my kids absolutely, I felt, had to have and what we could wait for. And they didn't get what everybody else seems to get. But in the end, they got everything that every other kid had, at least as far as protection goes, by the time they went to school.
Yeah.
But there's parents that don't even know this, and they won't do the research, and they just think, well, this is what it is. I got to go and give them 4 in one visit. No. So there's a lot that we could be hearing out of RFK Jr. besides getting rid of that. How about getting rid of the mRNA vehicle as well?
I hope that's on the table. We've seen some talk that maybe it's not.
Well, clearly it's not, because it's still there.
Yeah, I mean,
how much time do you need to know to get rid of that?
I would love to know what's going on behind the scenes there, because he should be railing against that from Jump Street. But I don't know if you saw this, but 8 artificial dyes will be phased out of the U.S. food supply. RFK Jr. has said 8 dyes that'll be eliminated include forgive me, it was the artificial dyes detailed on April 22nd news conference. They used to offset the color loss due to exposure to light, temperature extremes, and as well as other colorless and color fun foods, according to the Food and Drug Administration. So Kennedy has railed against these foods for a while. Here was the dyes will be phased out is FD and C blues number 1 and 2, FDC number green. Now, I could go through all this. Did you see the side effects of this stuff? The other articles I looked at earlier today, it's psychotic. The direct links to Alzheimer's and gastrointestinal issues. So, I mean, at least we got this, but it's not going to get phased out to 2026 and 2027. So, it's
it's a little crazy.
It's a little bit. You're talking about kids don't need their food to look like a cartoon.
No.
So anyway, I just figured I'd throw that out there. Because it was
And what's amazing, I was reading something on this, because of a lot of it is petroleum based, and we all know where that comes from.
100%.
Right?
Without
Mr.
a doubt.
Rockefeller.